with you this evening. So I wanted to thank you for the opportunity to clarify and refute statements from the City Commission budget meeting on Monday, August 18th, 2025, and the point of view in the Tuesday, August 26th, 2025, Yankton Daily Press and Dakota titled, "Sink or Swim on Your Own." I personally am excited about the future of Yankton and the opportunities ahead of us. Thrive has a long, proven history of making things happen in Yankton that provide positive economic development results. We are incredibly proud of the impact that we create in our 4 pillars: economic development, workforce development, tourism, and business services. Our mission is to provide leadership in fostering efficient growth of the Yankton area economy. As a reminder, the $460,000 allocation from the City of Yankton is only 24% of our budget. Your budget allocation funds our operations for tourism and partial operations of economic development. My statements tonight are intentional. I am only going to focus on a few topics of public interest based upon the time I have available. Those of you who know me understand if given the opportunity, I could talk for hours about Thrive and our community. So I think it's appropriate for the people to hear the truth as they place judgment on the value of Thrive in our community. I'm going to focus on the key areas that are on that slide up there: property tax, River City Flats, compensation, bids, minutes, TIFs, and how are we going to grow our economy moving forward. So let's start with the property we own. Next slide, Dwayne, thank you. Thrive does own 104 parcels. In addition to the 89 parcels, Garden Estates, highlighted in yellow are the 7 parcels available for development, in addition to Garden Estates. It's true, as you can see on this chart, we do not pay taxes on all of them. By state law, development companies are eligible to hold tax-exempt properties up to $2.5 million in value. And that is from state law 10-4-8.1 and 10-4-15. Also in state law, all property owned within a tax increment district, which will be referred to as a TID, shall have all the taxes paid in full and are not eligible for the tax exempt status that I just referenced. With that being said, of the 104 parcels owned by Thrive, taxes are being paid in full on 97 of them. 6 are tax exempt because they are not in a TID. And 1, the data center, has all the taxes paid in full by the tenant. We are following state law. And speaking of taxes, Thrive is not behind on paying any of our taxes. We are 100% up to date on the taxes on all of our properties, and we are also up to date on all of our financial obligations. So let's address the apartments scheduled to be built on Whiting Drive. There's a board of directors for the River City Flats project. I am not on that board of directors, but speaking on their behalf, they held off on that project for a couple of reasons. Number 1, there are several other apartment complexes, which is exciting for Yankton, that have been completed in the last year, and it made financial sense for the community to hold off on this project and let those projects stabilize before adding more units onto the market because of number 2, the closure of American Foods. With several hundred people impacted by that closure, the community needed some time to adjust and see how the rental market was going to handle so many people moving out of Yankton. The board has been very community-focused and sensitive to the market conditions. As you all probably remember, Yankton Thrive received from HIF grant dollars. HIF stands for Housing Infrastructure Financing Program, and those dollars came from South Dakota Housing to finance infrastructure needed to complete the housing project. Those monies could only be used for infrastructure and not the actual construction of the buildings. Per the terms of that grant, we were required to build 126 rental units for the $1.26 million grant that we received. All of the infrastructure funded through this grant has been installed and accepted per the terms of that grant. Moving on to my compensation. As a nonprofit organization, not a business, Thrive files a 990 each year, which is public information, and shows my salary is $131,675 in 2024. And while the benefits are not listed on that public document, I can assure you that I do not receive $80,000 in benefits from Thrive. My benefits are actually the same as all the other employees at Thrive, except I do not participate in the healthcare plan. Moving on to bids on project. First of all, Thrive has very few projects or services where bids are necessary. As a membership organization, we do business with our members if their pricing is at market rate. If we have more than one member who provides the service, occasionally we will put out bids for that service. Using the rugs in our lobby as an example. For a long time, we only had one member who provided that service, and when another member signed up, we put that service out for bid with those two members and selected the one that best met our needs. We are not legally obligated to go through the bidding process as a nonprofit. So let's talk more about the minutes. I appreciate the previous discussion, and maybe I can add some clarity for you. Our bylaws allow for the public to have access to the approved application for tax-exempt status with the IRS and 3 years of the tax returns. And as referenced, State Law 4724-2, inspection of records or books states that all books and records of a corporation may be inspected by any member or his agent or attorney for any proper purpose at a reasonable time. The key word in that statement is member. So what legally constitutes a member? We checked with our attorney to make sure we were in compliance with this. And as Commissioner Brunick was stating, our system that we use to track our memberships has a primary person who is assigned to each of those members. That is the person, per the law, that then would be considered the member. Everyone else of that organization or that company is not considered a member, but they would be a guest of the member when we host events and give member pricing for certain events. So the primary person on any of the 501 members of Thrive would have access. In the 8 years that I've worked at Thrive, no member has ever requested the minutes. With appropriate notice, we are happy to follow our bylaws and state law to provide the requested minutes to our members. Our board signs NDAs, and the member would also be asked to sign that NDA. Thrive is accused all the time of doing special favors for special interest groups, and we work to show people through our actions that we do not do that. And this is one of those situations where someone is asking us to treat them differently because of the financial support we receive, and that is not in alignment with our bylaws, and we are refusing to succumb to that pressure. We're not trying to be difficult. We are following the law, and we are following our organizational bylaws. It is personally frustrating to be accused of wrongdoing when we are following the law. People might not like that, they might not like how we define member, but that is the reality. So I'm going to move on to talk about TIFs. TIF stands for Tax Increment Financing. With 100% certainty, Westbrook Estates, Garden Estates, and the completion of Gale Drive would not have happened without the utilization of TIF. Thrive supports the use of TIF and sales tax rebates. Both are good tools to be utilized for different purposes. I don't have time to explain how similar these two tools are from a taxpayer perspective, but I would be happy, upon invitation, to come back and explain that to you at another time. Both of these tools have been used in conjunction with expansions and recruitments of new businesses. Let me remind you, this is in no way a burden on the taxpayers. Thrive is responsible for all of the debt for those TIFs. There is no risk to the taxpayer where they would have to pick up the tab. I welcome factual information if someone has any how that would otherwise be the case. So the question was asked at the last meeting, how are we going to grow our sales tax and how are we going to grow our community? So really, from the slide in front of you, what really is our goal? We want to grow our community. We want to grow families and the impact that they have in our community. Please pass those down. This is a copy of the ad that was in the Press and Dakotan on Saturday. When previously requested to share a list of projects that Thrive has done, we don't readily have a list available to pass out to people, but we took the time to create this graphic to show you the impact that Thrive, formerly Yankton Area Progressive Growth, has had in the area of economic development. You can see we've built 4 spec buildings and a data center. Each of those spec buildings at the time brought a new business into Yankton, creating jobs, enhancing property tax, creating primary jobs that have good wages and benefits for the community. There was land or financial grants for expansion. We have done multiple helped with multiple expansions in the community. We have financially supported several organizations and partnerships on studies in the community. And as I've already stated, we supported Westbrook Estates and we are supporting Garden Estates in our efforts. So while I've primarily talked about economic development initiatives, you can anticipate that you will see additional advertisements and social media focusing on our other 3 pillars. We have provided you all the necessary information on the topics that have come up before the commissioners when you're voting on a Thrive initiative. We have answered all your questions to the standard needed to get the support, even without every commissioner reading the minutes. Thrive exists because of our members and our community. We raise significant capital to make projects happen that benefit Yankton. Our members, investors, and grants provide the revenue to make up that other 76% of our budget. While some don't feel they personally receive benefits from Thrive at all, I'll strongly disagree with that. And this list of projects should prove that impact. We are a trusted partner of the city, and as one of your outside agency locations, we are one that truly drives additional sales tax revenue through the projects that we support. Thrive can't be everything to everyone because we're primarily limited by money and time, and which of us isn't, quite honestly. We work hard to meet the community needs. And if you're standing on the sidelines fussing about the good work that we're doing, I encourage you to pick up your checkbook, get involved. If you're not able to financially contribute, I encourage you to step up and volunteer for many of the nonprofit organizations in the community. And if you're not able to volunteer your time, I encourage you, instead of posting negative things on social media, post something positive about our community, about a business, or other people in the town. Let's create positive momentum in the community. So sink or swim on our own. Thrive can't do it on our own. The city can't do it on your own. The county, Mount Marty, the school district, the nonprofits, the citizens, none of us can do it on our own. That's how the ecosystem of a community works. We are all interconnected and play an important role in creating community. I'll take responsibility for Thrive not tooting its horn as much as maybe it should. My leadership style is to stay in the background, do the work, and let the others take the credit. I'm always open to personal conversations with groups to share the messaging and clarify the mistruths, the misinformation, or the lies. It is way more fun to talk about the positive impacts that we make. As we talk on this, or as I've shown on the screen there about how we grow community, what is Thrive's role in that? Employment. We work to recruit companies to Yankton. We work with companies to expand here in Yankton. We help get people trained for appropriate careers. And we work with the school district to make sure our students who are graduating are either ready to go on to continuing education or enter the workforce. When a family's coming to Yankton, after they have employment, they're going to be looking for a home. As I've already talked about, we're helping create housing. They also need education and healthcare, which are really two strong components of our community. And then the last one is community. Dwayne, next slide. This is a lot of what we do on the other pillars at Yankton Thrive. All of those interplay with each other. As I mentioned before, it's a network of services that are provided to create community. So let's continue to swim together rather than tie anchors on each other and slow down the progress for all. Next slide. We need to remain focused on moving forward and not looking back. Precious time is being lost when we analyze decisions that were made years ago instead of focusing on the energy that we need to create positive impact. Thrive isn't going anywhere. We will continue to make positive impacts and grow the economic foundation of our Yankton area economy. I will stand for questions.
I have a few.
Hold on, Commissioner Conklin, please go ahead.
Thank you. You mentioned property taxes first, and 89 of the properties are in TIDs, right?
Mm-hmm.
What they pay property taxes.
Yes.
Where did that property tax go?
Where did that property tax go?
If it's in a TID, where does the property tax go?
So for people who don't understand how TIDs work, the general public might not understand, so I'd like to answer your question, please. There is a base that is set in every TID. That base was the value before the tax increment district was set. That money continues to go to the taxpayers as it does before the TID was created. The increment on top of that, which is created because of the development that has taken place, goes to pay off the debt that is associated with the infrastructure that was created for the public good.
So my point is this. It was all ag land before, so the assessed value was very minimal. There's very little money there. All the extra new property tax that's being generated to help the community goes back to pay for the infrastructure for your project for 20 years. That means school, city, county can't touch that property tax for 20 years. Right?
That's an inaccurate statement.
Well, you can pay it off early, but a TIF is set up for 20 years.
Mayor,
correct?
can I answer that question, please?
Let
Yes.
me finish my talking and then you can answer. So for 20 years, they say they can pay it off earlier. Really doesn't happen that often. 20 years, but now who gets to pay for all the new roads, the maintenance, the clearing and all that? The city does. And since there's no new property tax from that development, we all get to pay the difference. The other thing is that all that money is not available, so it puts an extra burden on the city, the county,